Now it's time for the promised part, the introduction of a new generation of Aspen Fellows. And I know it's quite late, but I ask you, actually I'm going to go off script a bit, because I was part of this Young Leaders program. I want to share with you some thoughts. I was listening very carefully to what Mr. Mircea Joană said in his introductory speech. And of course, he talked so beautiful about the Young Leaders program and about the Young Leaders generation. And of course, I have heard a similar speech in significance from him during Module 1 of Aspen Young Leaders. And I'm ashamed of myself to admit that I didn't believe him back then. Of course, I'm a part of a generation that is used to challenging everything he hears. And I thought to myself, well, of course, it's a program of the Aspen Institute. Of course, he will say good things about the program. But then I went to Module 1 and Module 2 and Module 3, and I found there the most challenging intellectual, but also physical happenings of my life. And then the program ended. And of course, life goes on. And your career goes on. And your responsibilities pile up. And some of the memories fade. But every time I found myself at a crossroad, I went back to the Aspen Young Leaders module. And I found the answer I was looking for there. And this is why I want to personally thank you for what you have offered me and what you have offered to a lot of participants of this amazing program. Yesterday night, I had the joy and privilege to witness the community projects of this year's generation. And I want to thank them for bringing back that state of mind. This being said, I'm going back to the script, and I invite on stage Mr. Florin Pogonaru, Aspen Institute Romania board member, Ms. Ioana Antonescu, Leadership Programs Manager, and Mr. Mihai Cucu Dumitrescu, the Leadership Programs Officer, for the Diploma ceremony of the 2019 generation of Young Leaders Program.
Bună seara! Când ești unul din grizonați, cum zice Mircea, te întrebi ce ai făcut bine până acum. Și pot să vă răspund că sunt uluit de mine, că de 13 ani sunt cel care dă drumul să zboare noilor generații de Aspen Leader. So, I am one of the gray hair guys, which is privilege compared, I would say, with the other members of the board. I'm challenging you, because in the last 13 years, I was the one which I let's fly the new generation of Aspen leaders. Cred că ar fi foarte interesant să știți cum s-a creat Aspenul. E o poveste interesantă. E câtă energie a pus Mircea, câte relații. Unde ne-a dus? Eram trei. Era Mircea, era Alexandra Găteș și eram eu. Ok. Bineînțeles și spousii, pentru că și Alexandra era cu soțul, deci erau nu numai soțiile, erau și soții, iar în plus eu eram și cu copiii. Probabil mi s-a tras de la copii, de m-am lipit atât de tare de ce e mai frumos, după părerea mea, în Aspen, Young Leaders. So it's very interesting to remember how Aspen was created. It was based on huge energy, networking, personal relation of Mircea, and there were three of us. It was Mircea, it was Alexandra Gătej, it was myself with our spouses. I was with the children, and I suspect still that I am with the young leaders because in the mind of Mircea, I was associated somehow also with the young generation. Fact is that young generation in our family graduated young leaders programs, and not only this. I trust people who graduated Aspen. Our people with whom we are working and which is at the base of our success are at least graduating Aspen leadership seminars. So, Andrei said not to say this, but I put my money where I put my mouth. And I'm also very proud of it. Now, I promise to be very brief. This morning, I started to debate with Andrei various articles which appeared in Financial Times. How many brushstrokes from Leonardo you need in order to declare a painting as being a masterwork? Saying this, I am wondering how many young leaders, graduates of Aspen, are needed to transform this society. I mean, really, I think that we are very close of having that critical mass in order to have a new Romania, a Romania of value, moral, profound values, and people of the kind of the young leaders of Aspen which are transforming this country. Saying this, please allow me to introduce the new generation of Aspen young leaders. Mrs. Otilia Ioan Angel. Mr. Alin Claudiu Apostol. Mrs. Cristina Bărăgănescu. Mrs. Cristina Georgiana Barticel. Mrs. Madalina Buroș. Mrs. Margareta Chesaru. Mr. Alexandru Dancu. Mr. Martin Dimitrov. Mrs. Carmen Mihaela Durnă. Mr. Cristian Ezri. Mrs. Ioana Alexandra Irimia. Mrs. Suzana Kovac. Miss Timea Lampsanski. Mr. Ștefan Lungu. Mrs. Alina Lupeș. Observați că am și eu preferințele mele, sunt dintre cei cu care am lucrat, lucrăm, ne-am bazat și ne vom baza în continuare. Mr. Mădălin Marius Margan. Sebastian Mândroiu. Alina Mâțu. Anda Narita. Gabriela Petra. Romana Ridza. Subuhi Rzaev. Alexandra Violeta Simionescu. Natanail Stefanov. Acum, dați-mi voie, cu experiența de 13 ani, să vă împărtășesc din înțelepciunea mea. Prima chestiune, ca să nu stați așa înghesuiți, cei din stânga cu umărul drept înainte, nu o să ieșiți în fotografie dacă nu vă lipiți, dacă nu vă apropiați și nu încercați să stați cât mai ca sardelele. Și Urmează fotografia de grup și e un lucru care vă va face bine mult timp de acum încolo în viață. A doua chestiune, nu mă pot abține să vă spun din lucrurile mai înțelepte pe care le-am văzut cu toate generațiile voastre. Atenție că sunteți foarte ambițioși și foarte competitivi și asta e un lucru nemaipomenit. Aspenul acum v-a polișat, dându-vă valorile și făcându-vă să fiți nu numai competitivi, ci să gândiți în termen de valori. Am o chestiune pe care o spun și copiilor mei. Nu încercați niciodată să fiți în competiție cu personajul colectiv. Nu adunați toate calitățile din jurul vostru într-un singur om cu care să vreți tot timpul să fiți în competiție. Vă faceți rău. Deci vă paște pericolul ăsta și atâta să învățați din Aspen. Și a doua chestiune, fiți atenți că darwinismul e un lucru foarte bun și e științific, dar se pare că în viață selecția naturală se face nu pe bază de fittest, ci pe bază de friendliest. Așa arată ultimele cercetări. Mulțumesc!
We will now invite the representatives of this wonderful generation of young leaders to address the audience, Cristina Bărăgănescu și Cristian Ezri.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin with a very important announcement. I hope you're holding on some beans that our fellow colleagues have given you. If not, this is the moment. Please hold them tight. You will need them in the near future.
So when I was around 12 years old, shortly after the fall of communism, my parents sent me to see the United Kingdom, to see the West. I've been collecting money for quite a while because I had a little dream. I wanted to buy a Discman. Who knows what a Discman is? Okay, few people. So a Discman is the same like a Walkman, but with a CD. So I just bought my brand new Discman. I was walking in Hyde Park, in seventh heaven, very happy. And I saw there is a lake in the middle. And suddenly I have this gorgeous idea. Let me see how warm the water is. And as I'm walking towards this lake, I suddenly had a vision. And I saw myself floating on the water. And I turned my head to the right and I see floating the Discman. I'm saying, what a stupid thought. This could never happen anyways. Even if such a thing would happen, I would first think, throw out the Discman to save the Discman. That's the most important. And then shortly I get close to water. I just bend really a bit to tip my fingers in, and don't ask me how. Next thing I know, I slid in complete the water. I open my eyes, I'm floating, and I see the Discman. I frenetically throw it out to save it, and I'm completely wet. And I emerge fully wet, everyone laughing around, even people riding horses, they said, look at that guy. And by the way, it's all filmed by my brother. Very embarrassing.
So I guess we all had ideas about how the Aspen experience will be.
Similarly to how I had the vision before actually getting into the water.
But when you actually get immersed into it, you realize that it's completely different.
And also for us, coming out of the Aspen experience, we felt how is that people looked at us like, what happened with you? Like, you're strange, you're not the same, you're talking about these ideals and all that. But before we go on, allow me to present my fellow co-host, the one and only, Cristina Bărăgănescu, who was kind enough that throughout our debates explained us what's going on and made very precise summaries so we all understand what's happening.
And now it's my turn to present my fellow co-host, the wonderful, the one and only Cristian Ezri, who had no pity whatsoever for our sleeping needs during the staging of the now critically acclaimed production of Antigone, Fundata, 2019. You might have heard recently, hopeful for the Oscars.
So regarding our message today, we just want to pinpoint one little detail. We thought to do it the Aspen way. And we held with Christina 6 days debate on how to properly consult the group in order to establish the message that we're going to convey tonight.
And during these 6 days, and actually about 3 weeks till today, many of our colleagues had very valuable thoughts and creative processes and spreadsheets and Google Docs. And we found a lot of very interesting thoughts there that we would like to share with you. My fellow Martin does not know that we are about to do this, but we are actually going to read his contribution because we think it reflects very well the main part of the Aspen experience, which was the discussions around the philosophical texts. Martin, where are you? For the first time in my grown-up life, I got invited to a place where free, albeit well-moderated, space for thinking was available. The primary purpose not being to convince each other of some idea or ideal or coming up with a position paper. Instead, I thought about the way I think, about how other people reason, and why it is different from how I do. I even thought about my role in a group. Not this one in particular, but groups in general. I recognized I took things for granted, like what makes a good leader? Do I count as one? How many informal and formal leaders can a group have at different times? This experience was a revelation.
So moving from debates to action, one of the founding experience of our group was the staging of Antigone.
Imagine a bunch of amateurs with varying levels of enthusiasm and different ideas of how the outcome might be, but still somehow we managed to stage a remarkable production.
What was truly remarkable was the way that the group managed to organize itself in an organic way without imposing anything on anyone, in such a way that we all managed to find our little bits and pieces and created a beautiful thing together.
And one of the ironic things that also my colleague does not know I'm about to mention is that our colleague Madeleine did not want a very visible role, either tonight or in the play that night. But here we go again. So he chose to play the music, not realizing that as a DJ, it would be a very, very crucial role because he had to time the moments, the entrance, and constantly be under pressure. He did a wonderful job. Thank you, Madeleine.
And by the way, for anyone in the room, if you need a DJ for weddings or happy events, baptisms or whatever, we can happily forward you Madeleine's contact details.
He also does unhappy events. What really shaped our generation as well was the bean game, and here we go with the beans that you should have in your hand already. We were divided in 4 teams. We were given a set of rules, a bunch of beans, and we were told that at the end, the team with the most beans wins.
So Mr. Pogonaro had actually a very good intuition, because you don't get to see that, but we are quite a competitive bunch. And you could imagine that we had actually some drama in palpable way when we were organizing who to win. How actually in my team, someone came and said, "Hey, I know this game. It's very easy, it's the game theory. All we need to do is go clean in the first round and cheat in the next 2, and then we win."
In my group, we discussed the merits of cooperating because we realized that every time all of us cooperate, the bank doubles the pot. So if we collaborated all the time, we would all win all the time. We just had to trust each other. So I just said, let's go all in. The investment banker in my group thought I was crazy.
Also, when she came with this idea, we did not go all in. However, we are very proud to say that after 3 literally nerve-wracking rounds of negotiations, each of the 3 rounds, we all collaborated, and actually we cashed out the bank.
And I remember an alumnus coming to me and say, that would never happen in the real world. And I just looked at him and I said, this is the real world. We are the real world right now.
So you have to know also in the Young Leaders program there is an outdoor exercise part. Very interesting part, I have to say. So picture the following scenario. We are in Fundata in the mountains and it's raining.
The first challenge that my group had to encounter was an obstacle course. I saw the others doing it, crawling in the now mud, and I realized this looks really hard, but doable, especially if you're looking for a mud treatment. And I realized there's no way you can do it without ruining everything you're owning. So when my turn came, I just dived head in, and to be honest with you, I don't know how fast I was going, but I heard Aline, Christina, you're going so fast, and I felt like lightning. And I reached the end of my turn, and I realized nobody's there ready to go, to do the second go. And the group is timed. So somehow I decided that I'll go again. And I went in, and immediately I realized this is so much harder now. This was a horrible idea. What was I thinking? And I had to keep going. I made it halfway, and I looked towards the group that was gathered, and I thought, I don't know if I can do this. And I screamed for help, and I said, Aline, help me. I can't see anything. And suddenly a group of people just came running, and they ran the whole way as I was crawling in that mud. But I learned two things: that it's okay to ask for help, and secondly, that you can inspire others by going beyond. And the other Christina in our group went for her second go-to immediately after.
And sometimes there are also harder challenges than mud and rain.
It's okay.
It's okay?
It's okay. I just wanted to say that the Aspen experience is transformational because it made us work for unity. And we're craving a world from that rainy day.
This is sometimes, we rehearsed and then I forget something, then she, but we are co-create. This is Aspen, You're negotiating also during the speech.
Some say negotiating, some say consultation.
Eventually, there were also sometimes harder things than the rain or the mud, which were also very challenging because they were not necessarily physically challenging. So we had this huge time pressure in the outdoor exercise, and we just got over this mud and rain, and we went back on the right track, and we suddenly realized that there is a shortcut we can take, and we can trespass through someone's property. And our first impulse was, okay, let's just go fast because we're late. And then actually there was a huge opposition in the group. Wait, we cannot just walk into someone's property. And we're like, yes, sure, we cannot, but now we're late. There's no one here, so let's just go. And a huge debate broke out in the group. And okay, actually, what do you think? Did we trespass or not? Raise your hand if you think we trespassed. Okay, some realistic people. Raise your hand if you don't think we trespassed. So it's more. Okay, so Christina GB, she doesn't know. Christina, where are you? Christina GB, okay. She said, I'm not moving. I'm not going in. That's it. That's my limit. And we have agreed before that we leave no one behind, no matter what. So we had to go on the right path. And then we are also actually very proud to announce that the other group we found out later also chose to go on the right path, however, for completely different reasons. They were afraid of the dogs.
The principle was there.
Yes, and what was truly remarkable to us in this case, that we saw texts coming alive. We saw the ring of Gyges from Plato. We had the ring. We could trespass, no one would see us. And yet, we had to sacrifice our short-term gain for holding up principles that were important to our group.
So, what does this all mean? It's that we started to plant these beans, and the first sprouts of these things that we're building together are the projects that we're going to present to you from our fellow colleagues. Every time you hear your name, please take a step ahead.
And the first project in alphabetical order is Change Architects Social Innovation Fund, initiated by Madalina.
Citizenship education, promote voting, initiated by Alina, Cristina, Margareta, Otilia, Timea, and Martin. It's okay.
Empower Community Merishan Project, initiated by Carmen, Ioana, Otilia, Romana, Gabriela, Stefan, and myself.
Expertina, the Female Experts Database, initiated by Alexandra, Anda, Madalina, Romana, Zuzana, and yours truly. Yes, please come in the front, please. Let the people see you.
Grow, Mind, Body, and Soul Experience for Corporations, initiated by Alina.
Industry, Film Industry Networking Platform, initiated by Romana and Alina.
Merishan inspires the world, a design thinking process for education initiated by Aline, Anda, Madalina, and Nathanael.
Start Agro, affordable greenhouses, initiated by Alexandra, Stefan, Alexandru, Anda, Madeleine, Sebastian, and Sabuhi. As you could see, some of our colleagues are involved in more than one project, some of them as much as 4 projects. And with your permission, we would like to address a few words to them as well.
So, dear colleagues, we are celebrating a beautiful closure of a wonderful year we spent together. We have many dreams and hopes. Let us make sure that these dreams and hopes will not sink into an empty trophy of our egos. Let us make sure that this Aspen experience will not be an empty check on our CVs. Let us work in such a way that we integrate the principles and values that we share and that we learned. Being a leader, it's a 24/7-hour job. And you're also a leader when you take out the garbage or when you do things that no one sees and for which no one claps.
It's more important than ever today, 30 years from the year of revolution, 1989. People also hoped then for the good society and something better will come. Let the sacrifice of those that spoke out be the force that pulls us towards one another. Not because it's easy, it's not, but because it's the only way. Let us choose that we are the building blocks of that good society that they have been dreaming of.
So here is what you've been waiting for. Do you remember the bean? Do you still have it?
Raise your hand if you do. Hold on to it, keep it close. May it be a token of tonight, where for a short while, I hope, everything seems possible. It might just be.
And remember that you alone have just one bean, but together we can cook for now and plant for the future. Thank you.
Now, this moment wouldn't be complete without a video message from our beloved Todd Brayfogle.
Hi, my name is Todd Breifogel. I'm Managing Director of Seminars at the Aspen Institute US, and it's been such a privilege, as always, to be working with Aspen Romania this year. I'm sorry I can't be with you at the Gala, but I'm happy to send my congratulations from afar, especially to the young leaders whom you've met tonight, but also to the senior leaders, the political leaders, the participants from the Economic Opportunities Seminar. It really has been a banner year for leadership seminars with Aspen Romania. And as we all confront the challenges that our democracies face, it's inspiring, it instills hope to see so many committed people who are interested in not only making their own societies a better place, but to do that difficult self-education that is at the root of the Aspen approach to leadership. We've been running now executive seminars for 69 years, and in one of the earliest marketing materials, our founder, Walter Pepke, wrote this. He said, "The nose to the grindstone is a traditional American posture, and a mighty valuable one. But that posture would be improved if at the same time the eyes looked up and around." The leadership seminars with Aspen Romania, the other programs that Aspen Romania does, is an opportunity for all of us, whatever our leadership capacity, to look up and around before we get back to the difficult work that we have before us. So again, congratulations. I send all my love and good wishes and wish you a very enjoyable and celebratory evening. Thank you.
Another big round of applause for the Young Leaders Generation 2019. Mm-hmm.